Welcome to our animated philosophy series, where we explore timeless concepts in a modern context. Today we'll discuss Immanuel Kant's idea of antinomies, which is among his most fascinating philosophical ideas. Antinomies are basically sets of two statements that appear to be logically coherent yet are contradictory with one another. Now, you may be asking yourself, how is that possible? Kant argued that these antinomies result from reason's attempt to transcend beyond what is actually experienceable in the world and attempt to answer problems that fall outside of this constraint. In order to put things in perspective, keep in mind that Kant was writing in response to the metaphysical discussions going on at the time. Questions such as, is the universe infinite or finite, and other inquiries into the ultimate nature of reality were a constant source of frustration for metaphysicians. Or does everything have a cause, or is there something that is uncaused? These are huge, abstract questions, right? Philosophers discussed them for ages without reaching any firm conclusions. Enter Kant, who interrupts, saying, wait a minute. Perhaps we are asking the wrong questions here. Perhaps human reason is not suited to address such questions in the first place. According to Kant's critique of pure reason, there are 4 primary antinomies. They all address a distinct metaphysical question. Let's go through each one of them to explain how it illustrates the limits of human knowledge. The first antinomy refers to the finite vs. infinite universe. Regarding the nature of the universe, the first antinomy asks whether it is infinite and had an eternal beginning, or if it is limited and has a beginning in time. The thesis for this says that the universe is finite in space and has a beginning in time, as opposed to saying that the universe is endless in space and has no beginning in time. Now, both of these statements appear logically sound. Saying something like the universe had a beginning makes sense in our opinion. When we consider cause and effect, we assume that something had to happen first. However, it also seems logical to claim that the universe has always existed and never came into existence in the first place. This view bypasses the problem of something coming from nothing because, in this scenario, there was never a moment of creation. The universe is eternal. According to Kant, there is no way for pure reason to settle this argument. Why? Because it is impossible for us to leave the universe and observe it objectively. Neither of these statements can be supported by our sensory experience. Therefore, reason attempts to find a solution to an issue that is inherently insoluble. The second antinomy concerns matter's divisibility, namely whether it is composed of indivisible atoms or is infinitely divided. The second antinomy concerns the divisibility of matter, namely whether it is infinitely divisible or composed of indivisible atoms. The thesis for this says that everything in the world consists of simple parts or indivisible atoms. The antithesis says that everything is infinitely divided and nothing is simple. Again, both perspectives appear realistic. On the one hand, atoms are often described in science as the building blocks of matter. On the other hand, we can imagine continuing to break down matter into smaller and smaller pieces. So which one is it? Is division endless, or is there a fundamental smallest particle? Kant's argument is that there are no conclusive answers to questions like these that pure reason can provide. We are limited to dividing matter within the boundaries of our possible experiences, no matter how hard we try. The ultimate structure of reality is not accessible to us via reason alone. The nature of human freedom in opposition to determinism is the subject of the third antinomy. The thesis states that human beings have free will. The antithesis says that natural laws govern everything in the world, including human behavior. The question of whether we have the freedom to choose or if all we do is predetermined by forces outside of our control is a timeless philosophical argument. The issue of everything in nature appearing to follow the principles of cause and effect arises if we are to believe in free will. However, denying free will feels like we're giving up something fundamental to our humanity. Kant demonstrates that reason by itself is unable to resolve this disagreement as well. Freedom as a notion is outside the realm of possible experience. We cannot experience freedom in the same way that we experience things or events, thus attempting to reason about it leads to a paradox. The existence of a necessary being, or anything that must exist by its own nature in contrast to contingent beings which exist by chance, is the subject of the fourth and final antinomy. The thesis states that there is a necessary being who exists either within or beyond the world. The antithesis states that everything is contingent and reliant on something else. There is no such thing as an essential existence. This antinomy addresses the question of whether there must be an ultimate, necessary being, often connected with the concept of God, or whether everything is merely a series of contingent causes and effects with no ultimate foundation. Again, the idea of a necessary existence transcends experience, therefore reason cannot finally settle this dispute. The interesting thing to note now is how Kant resolves these antinomies. He doesn't just abandon us in this position of uncertainty. Rather, he provides a crucial resolution by differentiating between noumena and phenomena. And phenomena are the objects of our experience as they seem to us. This is the world of our senses, the world that allows for empirical observation and investigation. In contrast, noumena are things outside of our perception, existing as they are in themselves. Because these noumena are outside the realm of conceivable experience, Kant argues that they are inherently unknowable. Thus, according to Kant, the antinomies result from our attempt to apply reason to the noumenal domain, a realm that is outside the capacity of human understanding. We treat ideas like the origin of the universe or the nature of free will as if they were objects of experience, despite the fact that they are concepts that go beyond what we can know. In summary, Kant's critical philosophy teaches us that the phenomenal world is the only place where human knowledge can exist. When we attempt to expand our reason into the noumenal realm, the domain of things in themselves, we encounter paradoxes because our reason is not suited to cope with these kinds of questions. Here, Kant is limiting reason rather than denying it. He is stating, while reason is immensely strong, it is not without limitations. And we become confused about metaphysics when we attempt to go beyond those boundaries. In summary, Kant's antinomies highlight the contradictions that arise when reason advances ahead of itself. Kant demonstrates to us through his critical philosophy that the true extent of human knowledge is limited to the realm of experience, and that speculative metaphysics, which aims to provide answers to questions regarding ultimate reality, will inevitably result in paradoxes and contradictions. This understanding fundamentally alters our method of approaching philosophy. It causes us to refocus our attention from attempting to understand the unknown to expanding our knowledge of what is known within the limits of human reason. Thank you for learning with us. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more insights into similar echoes.